everyone, it's Dan Charles with LiteForex, and today is Friday, just after market close, February 14th, and I'm going to break down the major Forex pairs, starting with the Australian USD. And please subscribe to the channel to get more videos, and go to LiteForex, link in the description box below. Okay, let's get to the breakdown. So where were we? Okay, so last day we were here. I looked at this on Wednesday, and I talked about that it could pull back, and we had to watch this level right here, 67.28. That needed to hold. Of course, it busted on through. And I really, when I looked at the Australian futures, is what really confirmed that this was going to drop. Because when I looked at it here, I saw this big gap. I was pretty confident we were going to come down on the Australian USD. But looking at this now, as we go back, you can just see here, we're putting in lower highs. And by looking at this, it looks like it wants to trend lower, just with the pattern. It's a very similar pattern here. We pull up, we pull down. But usually when you are in a big downtrend like this, and you pull up like this, you pull down, and you quickly pull up, usually that's the signal that it's trying to find a bottom. And the most recent low was 0.6662. So we have to look at that as a very key support price. Of course, if it busts through that, it's going to keep going lower. But what needs to happen very, very soon is at least a hold around 66.85. We would need to hold that, and then realistically I'd want to see this breaking above 67.50 to really confirm that this has bottomed out. It's a little too late to tell. We really need to see what happens next day. I think there's more downside, but even today it's holding yesterday's low, 67.07. Today's was 67.09. It really does look like it wants to trend lower. So I'm anticipating more downside. But let's see if this price can hold and previous day's low, 67.07, can hold. All right, we already looked at the Australian futures. So let's take a look at the Euro USD. We're really dropping on this one. I really thought that this would pull back soon. Now, the other day I said we could pull up, and I drew in this line 1.0894, and you can see price did come up, hit a high of 1 point right there, 1.0889. So it did do what I said it was going to do. It came up, and it's either going to bust through that line and then we go bullish, or it hits resistance and starts pulling back. Well, that's exactly what happened. It started pulling back, then we confirm we're going to keep going lower. But realistically, looking at this, obviously we pulled up slightly today as well. It just looks so bearish, but it's just, nothing goes down at this rate of decline for long before a significant rebound or any rebound occurs. So it's very dangerous to keep selling, shorting this if you're holding for days, because this is ready to have a significant turnaround quick. And I would guess, in fact I know, I can say with certainty it's going to happen early this coming week. So look for that rebound. But let's take a look at the Euro futures. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. It's really fallen off. You know, it's very normal for price to move down at this type of an angle, but once you start looking at angles like we're at here, that's the rate of downtrend that this is at. It's, you know, it's normal to not be long term like this. It's going to rebound. So look for that rebound. Okay, pound USD. So last day we looked at this here on the 12th. I talked about this resistance around 29.88. because that was where support was, and then it busted through on February 6th. It broke through that support. I knew we were going to drop, we were going to go bearish from there, and then we've rebounded of late. So last time I looked at this, I saw this resistance, and it looked to me like we were more bullish though, even though we had that. It looked like the momentum was to the upside, and I did put in some levels. Yeah, on the 60-minute, I talked about this resistance needs to break. Of course, it busted through right here. Let's blow this up. Yeah, so I drew in these levels here, 29.79, 29.89. Those needed to bust, and then it would be bullish. And you can see it did hold that support level. It dipped below it, but it didn't close below that key support level, and that's what's the most important. Where a candle closes, and not necessarily where it goes in the candle time. Going forward though, it's, I got to lean more bullish, because it pulled back today, which was expected, but it held this, what now has to be support. So it's interesting. This was support, broke through, then it was resistance when we made a video on the 12th, pulling back. This was a bearish candle, even though it was green, and then broke through. So then we got to be bullish, and then today it pulled back and held that support, and then it's trending back up. Did put in a lower high, but let's see if this can break out next week. Let's take a look at the pound futures though. Yeah, pound futures, it doesn't look great. It's clearly still trending down / sideways. This chart's getting a little bit messy. I'll erase this for the next video, but it's still in this trend line, but it's not a strong move. We're still in this range. It doesn't look great, but I'm going to be more bullish than bearish at this. Okay, New Zealand USD. Okay, so I looked at this here on the 12th. I talked about this resistance. I drew in the resistance at 64.89, and I talked about this range, and I said this is going to come back. It's going to pull back. You can see that happen. I drew in the center line around 64.36, and interesting enough, it closed at that price. So if I made a video yesterday, I'd be saying that would need to continue to hold, and this would need to break out to hold that support. Of course, it busted through and closed below it. And going forward, it's well, let's take a look at the 60. You can see trending lower, putting in resistance. It is putting in some support lines on the 60, but definitely trending lower, making lower highs, lower lows. A little bit choppy the later half of today, a little bit sideways. It's obviously, you can see not much of a range today, not a lot of movement. I would say we need to hold this 64.20 is always an important support price. This one's a little bit tough because it dropped a lot. It had a little rebound, continued going lower, had a big rebound, and I said this would probably pull back. But I was leaning more bullish, but I thought it would pull back. So let's see if it can hold this support and have a nice breakout early in the week. Okay, USD CAD. Okay, so USD CAD. Yeah, I talked about this this key support price at the low, 32.36, 1.3236. And you can see today it held that exact 32.36 price, pulled up. So we definitely have support, and then here it is here, that price, 32.32, which is the low of the previous week. So how I would play this is this, it does look like it needs to have a rebound, and it is holding the support. Of course, if it starts breaking out, I would be bullish. But if it breaks through this very strong support, I would take the other side. Now, I did talk about the Canadian dollar having support at 75 cents. You can see it bounced, and then I thought it might pull back the next day on the 13th, which made me feel like I thought we'd rebound on the USDCAD for the 13th, which we did. But now we're just kind of rangy, kind of trending up, putting in higher lows. But you can just see that key support price on the Canadian dollar at 75 cents. This one's a little bit tricky because it looks like it's just gapping up like this, and I'm expecting this to fill that gap. So if this pulls back, obviously the USD CAD is going up, so I'm going to be bullish on the USD CAD. Okay, lastly, the USD yen. Yeah, so this was one where I talked about this important support at 110 that would need to hold to continue this run. We looked at this on the 12th, and I thought if it could hold that, say it hits support, and then it could turn around and break out. But then when I looked at the yen, I kind of changed my mind a bit, because it looked to me like we were hitting support and we had this gap. So I thought this could definitely rebound, which would send the USD yen down, which is exactly what happened. So going forward, we're putting in higher lows. We're holding this support, this important support around 109.52. Let's see if this can hold that and then break back above 110, and then break the recent highs at 110.14, and then of course take out this 110.22 price. Let's see if that's kind of where it's at. Of course, if it breaks through this support at 109.52, then we'll look for more of a bearish pullback. But as of right now, the pattern, breakout, pullback, breakout, pullback. It's holding these trend lines. It's holding support. Let's see if it continues that upward momentum. Okay, that is the breakdown for February 14th, Friday. Please subscribe to the channel and check out the link in the description box below this video. Thank you for watching. Have a great weekend.